Hello there, my name is Patrick Burke and I'm a real estate broker at McGar Realty here in Niagara, and I absolutely love real estate data, real estate statistics, trends, supply, demand, the whole thing. I'm going to dig into two very important pieces for you here now that we're in early March, looking at what's happened so far this year in Niagara real estate. So the two sort of buckets I often look at is supply of new listings, the number of sales, and then how that relates to price, right? So I'm going to sort of do things backwards here. But I wanted to look at why it's important to look deeper into the data. You know, every so often what we see is the month-over-month report. What happened this month versus the same month last year? And it's really not a good indicator. It's interesting, but there's so much of the narrative, there's so much of the backstory that gets left out when doing that. And what's going on right now, what's going on last month, what's going on the last 3 months, where are things trending towards going forward, right? Versus just this quick snapshot, what happened now, what happened last year, the end. So what I want to do today is pull apart two things: sale prices, and then, like I said, supply of new listings and the number of homes sold. So the first thing, St. Catharines, average sale price. When you look at a market like Toronto has 10, 12,000 sales, they can have some outlier sales, and there's so much data, it's tough to pull it in one direction or another so as to skew the whole market, right? Here we are in St. Catharines, February 2022, we just had the biggest sale price ever in the history of the city. What did it do? Well, we looked at January. January average sale price was $779, something like that. We're saying, and I went on record saying that the average sale price is going to pull back a little bit in February, and it did. It was sitting at around $769, $770 until the sale got posted, and it actually pulled the average sale price data up to $800,000, $801, somewhere in that range. So rather than the average sale price going from $779 to $770, which is what it was tracking towards, it actually pulled the average sale price up by $31,000 to $801. So yeah, when you see the average sale price for February, to have a month over 800,000 in St. Catharines is going to, knock a lot of people off their seat. And sure, what's the difference between 770 and 800? Well, I would say $30,000, and one sale caused that to happen. So again, when you look at the average sale price for the city, it's not the most accurate representation of what's going on from that one sale. So same kind of thing in Thorold. When you look at Thorold, it's a small city, not a lot of sales volume, right? So not a lot of sales. So it can have one or two or three sales or one segment of the market change, and all of a sudden Thorold real estate data doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's exactly what happened in February, January, December, because there's been such a push and such a growth in the new construction side of things in Thorold. All of a sudden, does a house on Sullivan and a semi in Old Confed, how does that relate to a big detached in Thorold South, or even the new construction pushing down towards Welland? So now, as a result, the average sale price for February 2022 was $997,000 for Thorold. So again, people are going to see that. February last year, I think it was 600 and something thousand. So all of a sudden, it's gone up by 300 grand. How does that make any sense? Meanwhile, when you take the new construction out, the newer homes out, all of a sudden the average sale price in Thorold comes down to $793, something like that. So that's a $200,000 swing when you pull that new stuff and the newer stuff out of the data. So again, deeper dive, right? Same thing with Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls has had consistently terrible new listing inventory, which has only served to push up and maintain these higher prices that Niagara Falls has had. So from December to January, the average sale price in Niagara Falls went up by $107,000 to almost $850 grand. The average year to date in 2022 is sitting around $815, but in February, the average sale price came down to $785. So yes, it came back down by about $65,000. So the overall trend is December was here, January was here, and then February came back down here. And one thing to look at is January in Niagara Falls was really weak in the number of sales. So you could have a segment of the market that isn't necessarily representative of the entire market that had a really big January that, again, pulls that data down, up. So you shouldn't see $108,000 swing, $65,000 swing the next month. You shouldn't see that kind of volatility. All right, and this is the big one for me, is the number of homes sold looking at this year versus last year, that same month, because you can have so many different markets between February 2021, February 2020, and February 2022. And for anybody who was involved in the real estate market over those 2 years, I think we had about 19 different markets. That being said, the point of this is to show you as an example of how slippery the slope is of doing monthly reports looking at last year. So Niagara real estate market, number of homes sold February 2022 versus February 2021. The number of homes sold were down 13% this year. So people are going to see the report and say, oh my goodness, look at the markets pulling. I told you, Gary, look at the markets pulling back. But you're comparing February 2022 to the heavyweight champion of the world of all Februaries, which was last year. And the same thing is going to happen every month this year until we get to the summer. March was an enormous month last year. April, enormous. May, enormous. June, pretty big. So every month, you can expect it. You mark my words, every month this year until we get to the summer is going to be in negative territory for the number of homes sold, simply because of how powerful it was. The biggest first 6 months of a year on record. So yes, February 2022 down 13% compared to last February. What was it like compared to previous Februaries? It was the second highest. So it was silver medal behind last year. Second highest number of sales for February, going back, looking at previous Februaries, going back about 15 years. So it was actually 24% higher than the 10-year average of previous Februaries. So yes, depending what thing you're comparing it to, it's either down 13% or it won a silver medal and everybody's celebrating, right? So same thing for St. Catharines. Not the same thing. Why did I say that? St. Catharines did its own thing as well. So January in St. Catharines was terrible. Second lowest number of sales of any January going back 15 years. Really weak new listing inventory. It was all in all just a stinker of a month. And we were all sort of standing around saying, what the heck is going on here? February is like, you remember when the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, are you in your 40s? When he got up off the mat and tore his shirt and the music starts pumping and he's shaking, the crowd's going nuts. That was February. So February 2022 reversed what January did, having been worst. February just posted the best, so went first to worst. So the number of homes sold compared to last February were up 10%. And February this year, compared to what's normal for February, 31% higher than normal, which is incredible given what we had just gone through in January. So that's the demand, right? The number of homes sold, a really big February. The supply of new listings, also big. The second highest number of new listings in the month of February in the last 15 years. So all in all, a market that just literally came off the mat and is rolling and rocking. It's really queuing up what's on pace to be a really interesting spring market. We will see, because as you know, there's all kinds of external variables going on that are going to impact the overall market. But right now, that's where the data is sort of going towards. And then, you know, you go city to city, you see all different, like Welland is having a huge time right now because, again, a lot of buyers that might be saying, okay, their prices are getting too high, I'm going down the highway. They're looking at Welland in Fort Erie and Port Colborne are also on a tear now in the mid-sevens. Welland last year didn't crack $600,000 for an average sale price, and right now, year to date, they're into the sevens. So pretty incredible times all around. I am going to link a few things down below this video. If you haven't subscribed or hit the notification bell and all that other good stuff, I'd invite you to do that, because whenever we put out videos, keeping track of the marketplace, you'll get the notification. You know how things work, and then you'll be in the loop of what's going on here in the Niagara real estate market. If you have any pieces of the market you want me to dig into, whether it's an area or a type of home or whatever the case may be, reach out anytime. I'm always happy to do that. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. And we'll chat soon. Okay, see ya. Bye.